Welcome to Two Girls, One Podium, the podcast where girl talk meets the finish line.
Join your hosts Millie and Jasmine, two besties with a passion for speed, sports and spilling all the tea. Whether we're breaking down the latest race drama, fangirling over our favourite drivers, or just having a laugh about life behind the scenes, we're bringing you the ultimate mix of motorsports and girl power.
So grab your iced coffee, buckle up and let's hit the track because here it's always full throttle and fabulous.
Hello and welcome back to this week's episode of Two Girls, One Podium. Better late than never, as they always say. Jazz, how has your week been?
Yeah, it's been good. It's been interesting waiting for the next race. We've got a few back-to-backs. I'm looking forward to that. How about yours?
Yeah, it's been good. Yeah, feeling the back-to-backs. It's nice to have some structure to the weekend, to know that you've got something to look forward to. Kind of dulls the Sunday scaries,
Yeah, for sure. Although we get bank holiday this weekend, so less scary than normal.
Less scary. Let's dive right in, or start at the beginning, as I always say. So straight off the mark, Oscar wasn't getting his elbows out this week. Not sure what that's about, because we've seen him be quite boisterous this season, and was a bit like a wet tissue, to be honest.
Are we thinking, though, that it's a precaution because he is technically leading in the championship and maybe he's not... Max isn't far behind, but he's not right on his butt. So maybe that's why he was maybe playing it a little bit safer, but obviously with the way it ended, doesn't really make sense. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know, but I wasn't here for it because I wasn't here for Max winning this week. That kind of was shot on my cornflakes, to be honest. I was there for the McLaren boys, and they didn't do a bad job. Don't get me wrong, but it wasn't what I wanted or expected.
Yeah, so Verstappen obviously got a really great start, and so did Russell. I think Russell actually would have been leading had he not been blocked by the two cars. But I was expecting the car to drop off for Max, because it always does, right? He might get pole, he might be able to get a good start and kind of get ahead, and then the car starts to drop off mid-race and he ends up a little bit further back. Didn't happen today. So it makes me think, what has happened? What's changed? Is there a different setup? Is there, have McLaren not set up their car correctly for the weekend? Because we know on race pace alone, McLaren in a straight line is very, very quick. So what changed?
Well, I think that is the problem. There wasn't that many straight lines.
True, Imola's quite a curvy, topsy-turvy track, so that could be why. But still, Verstappen finding something that is unexpected. Like, I feel like his race wins this season have been unexpected. Like, obviously you expect Max to win, but the car's not really been there. Yet he's, and he has races where he's not even getting on the podium, and then he wins. Like, there feels like there's no in between.
Yeah, 100%. I think possibly, he got that taste of being in first, and he just played that to his advantage. So, to be fair to him, I don't blame him taking what he probably thinks is rightfully his. But I agree. Obviously, you have to find something in the car to be able to do that. Maybe corners are his thing. Maybe it was just the right track for him.
Could be. And obviously, the way he drove for that first corner, he really pushed it to the limit, I think, in terms of safe driving, which is what he always does. He always drives that limit, sometimes tips over. And obviously, George felt a bit hard done by as well. But yeah, I think, starting to predict the unpredictability with Max, that he could either come fifth or he could come first.
Yeah, I mean, this whole season's full of unpredictable, which is why I'm really enjoying it, actually. Talk about a gentle nudge or unsafe, whatever you want to call it. I do think Charles possibly could have gently nudged Gasly into the gravel.
Well, They did have a good fight, didn't they? I don't know. Leclerc's not really one to get into kerfuffles. Like, with other people, he kerfuffles himself.
Yeah.
But he doesn't tend to get into fights with people like that. So I don't know if it's a combination of he was pushing a little bit more aggressively, but as soon as Gasly's wheel touched even a tiny bit, like even if there was just a bit of gravel on that track and he wasn't necessarily on the gravel, that could have also forced him that way, right? And it's very hard to drive in gravel, as we saw he was bouncing along.
Well, this is my question, because have they changed the track? As in, everyone keeps exceeding track limits, like that's a common problem. Had they changed it to put the gravel in the grass rather than it being tarmac? Because I swear those sections of the grid were originally tarmac. So they changed that, or
I think you might be right. I know that they do that occasionally, where they will go and put gravel in because it's you're less likely to want to go and clip any of that.
Yeah.
So I would be surprised if that is what they did, but I agree with you. I think I recall it not being gravel there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, obviously didn't pay off for Gasly, and I'm pretty sure he had to give the place back, didn't he, Leclerc?
Yeah, I think so. I think he did have to give it back. But I mean, that definitely wasn't the fight of this race. Again, gonna bring it back round to my favourites.
Here we go. Get the flags out.
They are just dominating. Like, I honestly, for a few minutes, I really did think that Albon could possibly podium. Now, I know I'm living in a dream world, right? But, man, it was...
I don't think you are.
It was in touching distance.
I don't think you are living in dream world. I am gutted that he didn't get to keep that. Obviously, we know it's unlikely, but you just never know where those Ferraris are going to end up anyway. So it feels like it's getting closer. I feel like a podium is on the cards for this season. Obviously, it depends on upgrades and all of those types of things, but all it takes is a few things to go wrong for another team and you're on the podium.
Yeah.
It seems that third place spot is up for grabs for anyone right now.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. Because, sorry, where did George finish? Mr. Consistent wasn't so consistent this race.
No, but I'm wondering if there was issues, because obviously Kimi had to DNF.
7th. Yeah. Oh, stop. Because, that changed the race as well. So,
yeah, safety
obviously,
cars.
that brought out a real safety car, right? And then that also gave the McLarens an opportunity to come back with Max. But, again, let's talk about the strategy there, because I think you'll hear, or you did hear, Lando on the radio saying, look, his tyres are shagged. Mine are not. I'm not saying give me the position.
The tyres are shagged, everyone.
The tyres, they're shagged. I'm not saying give me the position, but like, do we want to catch Max or not? And the thing is, I'm surprised that they didn't actually ask them to swap. And here's for why. McLaren will want to win the constructors more than just Oscar winning his first championship, right? And that's why I thought they would have done it, but they didn't. They didn't. And fair play to them. Oscar had to fight. Lando had to fight for that position, which is how it should be. But I was surprised that they didn't decide to swap them.
Yeah, I feel like McLaren don't know what they're doing. When it comes to the drivers, after last season, it feels like they flip-flop so much in how they want those two to interact. 1 minute it's swap places, 1 minute it's think about your teammate, think about your team. That whole begging Lando on the radio last season to give Oscar his first race win was just horrible to watch and probably horrible to experience. And since then, they've gone back and forth on whether they should make team calls or not, whether they should let them fight it out or not, and they've made the wrong decisions most of the time. Now, I agree with you. I think it's a bit more fair to let them swap, but sometimes you still have to make those strategic decisions, right? Like, we've seen it with Ferrari this season. Lewis put forward that he should swap, that Leclerc should swap with him so that he could have a go. And then we've seen recently that it went back the other way. And that makes sense, right? I know they're not fighting for first, it's a bit different, but like that's what you would normally expect to see. And then on the odd occasions where things are a bit more equal, you would say, just fight it out. Just be careful with the cars, don't want to lose them, but fight it out. So yeah, I fully agree with you. I don't really understand what McLaren are trying to achieve. Would be nice for them to get it together.
I guess maybe they just don't see Red Bull as a risk, and
I
that's
think that's
why
a
they.
mistake.
I agree. I do. I think it's a mistake. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, I know. Sorry, I've said I mean a lot. I know Yuki. I know Yuki's not finishing high at the moment, but one, he's getting to grips with that car, and oh my god, does that boy have persistence? I mean,
Hmm.
you saw him flip his car the day before and get
Hmm.
right back in. Like,
Yeah.
geez Louise, that boy is determined,
I
and
think
I
it,
don't think that should be underrated.
no, I agree with you. I think Yuki gets seen as someone he gets disregarded quite quickly, and
Mm,
especially early on, right? He was quite a hothead, and there was lots going on between him and Helmut, and I just don't know. A lot of the commentary I didn't really agree with. Like maybe he is a hothead, but still, the stuff they were saying they shouldn't have. But he came back each season stronger and stronger and stronger and proved himself. There's a reason he got put in that seat. I think you're right. We will see him get to grips in, give him a few more races, and I think he'll be up there battling. Will he be battling for third, second, first? Probably not, but I still think he'll be up there causing a problem in, from eighth onwards. And
mm,
that's your Ferraris, that's your Williams, that's
yeah,
potentially occasionally a Haas. It's those kind of battles that we're going to start seeing. So I think good on him because this is a major upset for everyone. The whole swapping of seats, like you started your season thinking you're going to be driving one car, you're now driving a different one. So yeah, I love to see it because I really like Yuki. I want to see him do well.
I agree. I think Yuki has a lot of potential, and he has been disregarded and underestimated. And I think once he gets to grips with that car, he's going to show everybody that they were wrong. And I
Hmm.
really hope that for him because I think he deserves that.
Yeah.
He's a hard worker, and he's not one to bow out easily. When things get tough, he just keeps returning, like a bad rash, you know. So
Yeah,
good for
get some
him.
cream for it, but eventually you
Yeah.
kind of miss it. But I don't know if that's actually true. But I would love to see him battle it out with Max. I want to see how they work as a team. Will they work well? Will it still be the Max show? I it will be interesting to see that dynamic play out. I think I know how it's going to play out, but again, Yuki is someone who will lose his crap if he's not happy. So I just think it would be entertaining to see how that goes down.
Yeah. I mean, again, I don't think that I don't think they'll battle. I really don't. I just think that Max is always going to be dominant in that car because it's tailored to him,
Hmm.
and I don't think that if they were even in the same sector, I don't think that Max will play nicely. I don't think he does
Oh no, for sure, and that's
particularly
when I
play
want to get
nicely
my
with
popcorn out,
others.
and that's why I want to see it.
Mm,
So,
yeah, but everyone's there to win, so
try my sparkly cup.
it's so cute, so
And
cute.
it needs to say I love Alex Albon for you, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean that should definitely be a thing.
Mm.
um,
We'll get
because they
t-shirts
did
of that
really
next.
well, and I was really proud of them. And every week they're just doing that little bit better. And
Hmm.
if they can just continue on that momentum, I mean, they're still five. They're still five in the constructors. Like that. If you had said that to anybody at the beginning of the season, they would be like, "You're lying,
Hmm.
lying."
I would love to have put a bet down because the odds on that must have been
So good, I
crazy.
bet.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm really happy for Williams. I'm interested to see what else is going to happen for them over the next few races. Then we're going to have the summer break, and we're going to see. Oh God, I forget what words are. We're going to start seeing lots of upgrades and stuff coming now, and I think that's going to be really interesting because I feel like the margin is so thin between the top couple of constructors. Obviously, you've got the other ones at the other side. They might be able to bring it back, but usually you don't see too much of a leap. But it'd be interesting to see how the top 5 or 6 teams, what their upgrades are going to do, because sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it boosts people up to the podium that you would never expect to be on there.
Mm.
Maybe it's only for one race, but I'd like to see it. And obviously we're in the kind of Europe leg as well, so it's how does the track temperatures, how does the weather, how do all these things play into it?
Yeah.
You're likely to get some rain in some of these events as well, which also makes it interesting. But I would love to see Williams stay in fifth or maybe even take fourth if they can.
What?
That
Away
would
from
be...
Ferrari? You want that?
But I mean, yeah, because I feel like Williams has been fighting for so long. Like, Ferrari have had opportunity, but they are so frustrated with their strategy. I'd rather see it go to someone a little bit more deserving. In that, like, I just feel like Williams, their time is coming, right? So the more they get this season, the more money, the more wind tunnel time they have, the better for them.
They scream, we're a team, whereas Ferrari kind of feels like it's drivers versus everyone else.
Yeah, and I do feel like that will change, though. I do feel like Leclerc and Lewis are kind of a one-man, well, they're a one-man band, that doesn't work, does it? They're kind of together. It feels a little bit like they're plotting, how do we dismantle Ferrari and build it up to what we need to be? And if there's one thing that Lewis could do, it's that, you know, he brings in a lot of sponsorships, he brings in a lot of sway in terms of the direction that somewhere might need to go because of his experience and his history. So I would be interested to see. You know, silly season has already started. Summer season makes it even sillier. Let's see who gets fired.
I just hope that Ferrari take Hamilton as seriously as Williams has taken Carlos, because you can see the difference since he's joined the team. And I do think that's because they took his wealth of knowledge and they weren't ignorant enough to be like, we've been doing this for years, we know what we're doing, which I feel like perhaps Ferrari might have been like, yes, you are a 7 world champion, but we're Ferrari. Like,
yeah, and I find that really interesting, right? Because in a way you can compare the two, right? You can compare Ferrari and Williams. Like, brand-wise, maybe not, but in terms of experience and history within F1, absolutely you can. Williams have been there since day dot, so it's very interesting to see how they've played it out. And I do think you're right. I think there's almost an ego about Ferrari as a brand, and I wonder how much that's playing into them not listening. But as I said, like, there's just little snippets of here and there that you're hearing of, like, you know, the last race, the CEO was in the garage. Lewis was a lot more open about how frustrated he was. I'm sure the conversations after between the drivers and everything going on also got discussed, and I'm wondering if that's kind of sowing the seeds and we'll start to see changes. And, you know, might not see dramatic stuff happening this season, but going into next season it might really change. They got to do something at this point. It's not working. So
otherwise they're going to tarnish that brand that they worked so hard for. So watch this space, I guess we'll see. Moving on swiftly though, there was a couple of undercuts during this race. So they got bunched up in a DRS train and a couple of people tried the undercuts. So looking at my notes, referring back to them, who did we have? So we had Albon. Did he do an undercut? Yes, he did. He did his undercut, and they weren't sure whether it's going to be a 1 or a 2 stop race, right? So they put Albon in early at the first virtual safety car, and I mean, it must have played out in some sort of way because he didn't do too badly. I think most people did the 2 stop, if not everyone, which is interesting because I think they're trying to implement that as a rule, correct? Because they're all one tyre softer than they were last season. So the softs are extra soft, the mediums are soft, and the hards are mediums now, I think.
I mean, I'm not too sure on that. But, I mean, I think you are right on the tyres. I think they have changed them this year. I don't know. Seems interesting to try and force it. I mean, it's not enforced right now because they could definitely do a 1 stop.
It's not.
But it does feel a little bit like that's the way it's going. And obviously, either last season or this season, it got introduced that when it rains, like, you have to go onto the wets. Like, there's that rule in terms of what you have to use. So I wouldn't be surprised if they go that way. I don't know how I feel about it though, because I think sometimes having the 1 stop makes it really exciting because you don't know if someone's tyres are going to last.
I agree.
Yeah.
And I think that's the whole point. The whole point is to understand whether you need the 2 stop or not, right? So it's always like, who's going to be the first to pit, and at what in what window are they going to pit, what lap are they going to pit, and are they going to need to pit again? How hot is the track temperatures? Does that mean that they're going to need to pit again because their tires are shagged, or can they stretch them out to the very end? If they do stretch them out to the very end, does that give somebody who has fresher tires the opportunity to take over? So I do think it actually takes out an element of excitement by forcing a two-stop.
Yeah, because I don't see any advantage of doing a one-stop. It's a risk. It's a high-risk, high-reward game. And I don't think the FIA should be trying to dictate that type of stuff. That it's all strategy. And as soon as you start to pull more and more of that in, you lose that freedom for teams to either make a great call and potentially win, or to screw themselves over and lose it all and make everyone annoyed, you know?
Yeah, and a lot of the time, not that this should be their strategy, but people wait for the safety cars, right? So if you enforce a two-stop, there are going to be a certain window that they have to hit every time. So again, like,
you're dictating.
I mean, it might work for Ferrari because they can't screw up the strategy.
Well, you have a point. I will let you have that. Yeah, maybe they'll get it right, but you know what they're like. They'll find a way.
Yeah, but
yeah.
It's just something to bear in mind. I don't know what you guys have heard out there, what rumours are going around. The FIA are always stirring the pot, as it seems.
Yeah. I mean, there's been a lot of talk around not being able to change your tyres under a red flag as well, because of the whole 2021 incident, where Max was able to change his tyres on the red flag, Lewis couldn't. And the restart happened and they only unlapped 4 cars, giving Max the championship win. That was the whole problem with it.
Yes.
But again, still no decisions. But I think this is the problem. The FIA are not making decisions on a lot of things, that, especially what the drivers are bringing up. Decisions, they're in consideration for however long. So, I don't know. I feel like the FIA are on this trajectory where they're going to get kind of booted out if they're not careful and find a different governing body.
Yeah, the FIA clearly doesn't want to make decisions because they want to be able to change their mind depending on what fits their agenda.
Absolutely.
No one's blind to that. Even as a rookie to the sport, I'm not blind to that. I mean, the FIA, our government, they could all be similarly compared. They just do whatever they want, whenever they want.
Yeah,
I don't really care about the repercussions.
Who's paying the most, you know. Yeah, I will be interested to see how the tyre situation plays out, because I would hate to see that lost. I don't really like that idea, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree. I do think you'd lose an element of excitement, and that's the whole point of the sport. It's to be angry at your team when they make the wrong decision, and it's to be glad when they make the right one. And by taking that away, you're kind of taking a whole element away. And
like we all need that little bit of anxiety of wondering whether our driver team are going to make it to the end.
Yeah.
You know, shorten our lifespan a little bit. You know, what else are you looking for?
Talking about making it to the end, what happened to Haas?
They just dropped out.
They were both out, both of them.
I know, but Ocon out quite early, didn't he? I think that you can hear it switch off, like something switches off on the car. Don't know what is going on, but I'm hoping it's not engine related, because obviously it's a Ferrari engine and that spells trouble.
It's just really odd because they've been doing so well this season, and I don't think they brought any upgrades, so I don't think it was anything interfering with that. So it just seems really bizarre that they both cut out. And the only thing I could think of is the atmosphere, the temperature conditions are different from what they've currently been racing in, but it wasn't hotter than anywhere they've been racing in, so that's not a red flag.
Could just be sabotage. Plain old sabotage. But saying that, Kimi also DNF'd.
Oh, don't, because I was so sad because he brought his whole school, not his whole school, sorry, that's quite intense. He brought his whole school class to the race that weekend so he could show them around.
Oh, don't get upset now. Oh, bless
him. He was like, this is me, this is my job, this is what I do.
Oh, he's so cute. Stop it.
There's a little photo of all those classmates with a Mercedes hat on. It's so cute.
I love him.
He's so precious. He must be protected at all costs.
Absolutely. But again, I still predict a podium for Kimi, so all is not lost. It's just a little bit sad.
Yeah, yeah, it is a bit sad. I wondered, Jazz, who was your driver of the day? Because I think
So
Max got it, and that felt a little bit unfair.
I
Once
don't
again,
like
are these
the
bots
voting.
out?
It must be the voting. Like, what is he really doing? I've actually put Lando as my driver of the day, and the
Yeah.
reason is he something's changed in the last two races. I feel like he's finding something again. Whether it's finding his love for the sport again, finding how he likes to work, whatever it is, it's working, and
Yeah.
I love to see it. And I think it was so nice because he had work to do today. Not today, whenever the race is on, because we're really behind in schedule. But you know what I mean. He had work to do in that race because I think he was in fourth, right, fourth or fifth, something like that.
Yeah.
And you know, it wasn't easy for him. Like, there was a whole scrap going out in front, and he had to bide his time. And he managed to come back and take second. So, you know, it was great to see. And the fact that he is willing to fight Oscar, you know, there didn't seem to be any hesitation on his part to take that place from his teammate. And I feel like Lando a couple of races ago might have hesitated to do that. So he's my driver of the day. Who's yours?
Well, he's not mine, but I just want to say I do agree. I think he showed a really mature driving style over the past two races in particular. And I hope that he continues to fight for his possible win as well, because it's still possible. And I hope that he, even by having that open communication to his team, saying, I'm not asking you to swap places, I'm just saying, please, can you not make it difficult if I can get past?
Yeah.
Absolutely fair.
And that's sensible, right? Because you don't want to crash. The last thing you want to do is crash with your teammate when you're trying to also win a constructors. So, yeah, I agree with you. Completely mature and love to see it. And I hope this is the direction. Like, he's going to have ups and downs, but I'm hoping this keeps building.
He's maturing as a person.
I would really love to see him fight it out and maybe even win that championship over Oscar.
For me, I want him to win the championship. I do want Oscar to win at some point, but I didn't want it to be this year. And if he does, great for him. But I do think it's Lando's year to win.
I agree.
But my driver of the day, shock horror, it's Alex Albon.
Oh my god!
And let me tell you why. Surprise! He fought
so valiantly.
He did. And honestly, like, the McLarens were coming up behind him, and it was just, I know he couldn't fight them off forever, but he did so well.
Oh my god.
He did so well.
I think
and he was even an unwilling filling for a little min. I thought, that's my boy.
Always getting in the way.
Oh, I love it. Causing chaos, the sass queen.
I know. I do love him though, and like I said, there's two people I'd really love to see on the podium aside from Lewis, because obviously he's my favourite, so obviously I want him to be on the podium. But it's Albon and Kimi. I just want 100%. To at least once this season. I would love to see them up there.
100% agree. I think it's completely possible as well. You know, the more I watch both of them, the more impressed I am every week. And obviously I just go on about them all the time.
Yes, you do.
But I don't think they're getting enough representation. Like, they're not getting the drivers of the day when they deserve it. And I just, that angers me.
Can I just say what pisses me off? This driver of the day situation. Why do we only care about the top three? Because a lot of the time they're not having to do a lot. Like, in some situations, yes, they've fought and they might have had to climb. But we've got other people that have missed out when they've climbed 10 places, multiple places. They've had to really fight, and they kept coming back and coming back and coming back. And obviously this race, Albon, you feel, is that person. So why are we giving it to the guy who has such a long lead time and didn't really have to work for it? Nothing against Max, and it's not just him. It happens to other drivers who win. But like, there's a lot of the time where I'm like, what did you do?
And what's the point in voting for the driver that wins for driver of the day?
They've already got a trophy.
Right? And do you know what? Although Albon was my driver of the day, when I was watching it with Josh, his driver of the day, I think, was Yuki, because he started from the pit lane and came, what, 10th?
And Yuki's been starting from the pit lane a few times this season as well, and he always manages to find something, and after such a big crash, it is incredible to see. So yeah, I agree. I think the driver of the day this season has made zero sense to me. I cannot tell you how it works.
It must be bots. Someone must be sending bots out, because I tell you what, it's pissing me off.
There you have it, guys. We're pissed.
We're pissed. Stop sending bots out to vote for the driver of the day who already won the race. It's pointless.
Exactly. And can I just give one shout out to my driver, because you get to hype up Williams every single time, and I try to refrain from talking about my guy. But I feel like Lewis did a great drive. Like, there was at one point he overtook a few people in a really short space of time, right?
Yes,
so he took Kimi and he took Hadja, and like the commentary and stuff as well is the, you know, Hadja looking in his mirrors and it's your idol behind you. I always find that kind of thing funny, because I don't know, probably in the car Hadja's not thinking like that. He's just like, it's just another car on the track. And then afterwards it's probably like, oh my god, I just raced Lewis Hamilton, but because he's a fangirl. But yeah, I feel like Lewis, you know, he's really trying to do what he can with that car, and Leclerc as well. Like, I've really seen Leclerc he's pushing it as much as he can.
Yeah,
you can see that race in, race out, where he's driving on the limit. He's so frustrated with that team, but he still continues to push. And I think I just feel like they're both on the same side. And I don't know how long that will last, but it's really nice to see them both just going for it.
Right now, they're both trying to bake a cake.
Yeah.
But they only have plain flour and not self-raising flour.
And they have no eggs.
And all they need is their team to bring them some eggs and some self-raising flour, and they'll have a greite cake. But until then, the cake's just going to be flat.
Exactly. That is the best analogy I've ever had.
It's true.
Oh my god, I love that. Yeah, it is true. It is true.
It's a flat cake, and no one wants a flat cake.
It's like biting into a
really
cake.
Dense.
Yeah, but do you know what? It's like biting into a cake thinking it's chocolate chip and it's actually got sultanas in it.
Yeah, it's actually raisin. No one wants that. That's just full of disappointment.
No, that's like dead flies in your cake. We don't need that.
Oof.
Sorry. That's what it reminds me of. I can't eat it. Sorry. I'll just put everyone off their food. So yeah, that's my little shout out. But again, Max wins. I've written down how, multiple question marks, capital letters, because it just feels so random.
Also, we didn't even really see him that much. It was a bit boring, that.
Yeah, that always usually happens. But in terms of predictions, should we go over some from our predictions for last week?
So you weren't far off, mate. You had Lando, Oscar, Leclerc. So
yeah, very close.
Yeah, you were close.
But I feel like it's very easy to just put the McLaren boys in, because it's hard for them to not be.
Yeah, whereas mine was a little bit further, because mine was Lando, Oscar, Kimi.
Oh, Kimi!
I really wanted it for him. I really wanted it for him.
It's gonna come.
It is. And then I guess we'll do our predictions for Monaco, and then I just have one little segment right at the end too. So my prediction for Monaco is Oscar, Lando, Albon. Yeah, all right. I'm a dreamer.
You are, but I love it, because it's very much like us wanting to see like Kimi up there and stuff. So I back you. I haven't agreed, but I back you on that.
Thank
you.
I appreciate your support at this time.
Yeah, it's difficult, but we will get there. So I've got Oscar, Lando, Leclerc. Now.
I'm only laughing.
Oh no! Wait!
Same as last week.
That's because I'm reading the wrong line. I meant Oscar, Lando, and then I got Max. Okay. Although I don't really 100% believe in my own prediction, and the reason I say that is because Monaco is very much where you qualify is pretty much where you're going to end up, because it's not a track you can overtake on really, and it's very difficult to, like, you might get an undercut. It usually rains and causes chaos. Like there's so many things that can happen at Monaco, but nothing really happens. So I'm debating that because we know Max can qualify very, very well. So I think it's going to be tight. That's why I'm not 100% convinced. But again, the reason I put Max in third, I feel like I'm over justifying this, but the reason I put Max in third is because we just don't know where the Red Bull car is going to be.
Yeah,
we don't know
I
what
agree.
it's going to be doing.
I do also think, though, we've said it a couple of times that, this is a track that you can't really overtake on. And much to our surprise, there's been quite a lot of overtaking, quite a lot of action. Even this track, for example, there was only one DRS zone. Lando was overtaking on places he probably shouldn't have been overtaking.
Probably, yeah.
So, it's always a hard one because although you're completely right and history dictates that there's really not that many places to overtake and that it's pretty difficult in this race, I'm always shocked. So I guess we'll
and I feel like they're just trying to do everything that they can now. Like, this season is just unlike other seasons. It feels a lot less predictable. But that makes it fun. So let us know what you think is going to happen next week. Well, this week.
We'd love to know.
Whenever this goes up. The race might have already happened.
Who knows? You're just lucky you get us.
Exactly. Be grateful.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and moving on to our last segment, I would like to enter what I call the DRS. And that stands for Drag Race Score!
Woo! We need to explain a little bit where this has come from, I think.
Yeah, so I don't know if you've seen this little trend on TikTok at the moment, but it's what the racing drivers would look like if they were drag race queens. And I think that's absolutely iconic. So if any of you are RuPaul Drag Race fans, you will know that on the show they all get assessed based on certain criteria. So we have the criteria as charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and sass. So we've rated the top 3 drivers of this week. So that's Max, Lando, and Oscar on charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and sass. So Jazz, would you like to kick us off with where you think Max falls into that?
I would, but I am going to caveat this with I wish Albon was up there because I would love to score him.
Sass, 10-10.
10s across the board, everybody. So I have gone for Max. Charisma, 3. In the car, it would be higher if we were talking out the car because I feel like his personality comes out. Uniqueness, 7. And I've done that for driving style more than anything else because we all know he loves to wear his school uniform. He never changes. So it is definitely driving style only. Nerve, 10. I would go higher for Max if I could because I don't think that man has any limit in terms of his nerves. Mm-hmm. And then for sass, I've given him a 4 because I don't think he's sassy. He can be petty, but he's not... He doesn't... I just don't find him overly sassy and compared to other drivers. What have you done for Max?
So I haven't just done it on driving style. I have done it overall. And I'm kind of... Okay, anyway, I'm just going to tell you my scores and why I've done them. Charisma, I've done 4. Okay. And that is because, you're so right, all he ever wears is his Red Bull suit. That's all he wears, Red Bull stuff. And I don't think if he was in a bar and he wasn't a F1 driver, he'd be picking up many women. I don't see it. I don't. I'm sorry. I don't think
like
he's got...
Like a virgin.
Yeah. I don't think he's got the smooth operator in him. Uniqueness, 10. I don't think we're ever coming across anyone as unique as Max. Nerve, 10. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. He'll... Unpredictable, right? He is just... off the rails.
Yeah.
In interviews, on the track, his nerve, 10-10, good for him. Sass, I've also put as 10, and that is because in his interviews, he will directly ignore the question, say what he wants to say, and walk off.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll give you that. It depends on how you're looking at the sass, right? But yes, I agree. I was thinking more when they're in the car versus just in general, but next time if we do this, I know what the...
Well, it's all on your interpretation, right?
Yeah, but I don't disagree with any of those. Max is an interesting character for sure.
Yes, he is. So Lando is our next. What have you got?
So for Lando, for charisma, I've got 8. I think he's got a lot of charisma, and obviously he tries to appeal to the masses. So he can be quite charming. He's got a very good following. He's got a brand, charisma's there. For uniqueness, I've given him a 5, and again, I've tailored this to driving style because he's quick, but I wouldn't say he stands out really, in terms of his driving style. It's kind of just he either has it or he doesn't. Yeah. In terms of nerve, I've put 7 because there are times where he tries to get his elbows out, but he's not consistent with it, and I would love to see him do that a lot more. So that's why he's at 7 for me. And in terms of sass, I've got a 7 because again, I think he has moments where he says things, he regrets them later, but he will say them. So yeah, that's mine. What did you put?
So I've got charisma 10. If he's going to a bar and he's not a race driver, you know.
You in these bars.
He's walking out with probably as many women as he wants.
He's very attractive. So yeah.
Uniqueness.
Conventionally, hold on. I need to just disclaimer. We're talking conventionally attractive because it's subjective. Everyone is beautiful. Period.
Thank you for the clarification.
You're welcome.
Uniqueness, I've gone with 8, and this is because I think although he's his own biggest enemy, which we've spoken about previously, he's also very good at weaponizing that, and I don't think many people are good at that. So obviously when he had his no wins, he branded on that. He was like, oh yeah, cool, you think I'm Lando no wins? Sure, whatever. I'll brand on that. And I don't think everyone can see their flaws and pull on them like he can. So I think that's a really unique quality, and I kind of like that. He also chose the color green for his helmet, which is a really odd choice, but now it's iconic. So yeah, very unique. Nerve 4. Again, he's very diplomatic when he's in interviews. He's very calm mostly, and he doesn't get his elbows out enough. And that again feeds into sass, a 5. Sometimes he can get a bit snappy on the radio, but there ain't that much sass going on there.
He toes the line.
Yeah,
I get that. That makes sense.
And then lastly, we have Oscar.
Yeah. So Oscar for charisma, I've put 9. He's an Aussie. It's it could be a 10. It's just I don't follow him that closely. If it was Danny Ricciardo, hundreds across the board for me. Okay, I have to put Daniel Ricciardo in every one of these podcasts because I need him to become back. Anyways, so obviously charisma-wise, I just think Oscar, his personality is almost that he seems like he's got no personality, but I love that about him because I think he's one of those people, if you get to know him, he's a hell of a time. I've got that vibe from him. And then in terms of uniqueness, I've put a 5, and again, I've done this based on driving style. For me, his driving style doesn't stand out. Yes, he's very clever, but I feel like it's too early in his career to be like, oh, he's making blinders after blinders in terms of what he's doing. So yeah, and also we've already had an Aussie. It's not unique, hun. Get a new personality. No, I'm kidding. And then in terms of nerve, I've put him as a 9 because I do feel like he is willing to get his elbows out. Obviously, this race was slightly different, and don't know what's gone on in McLaren's behind doors conversations. Maybe, who knows? Or maybe he just wasn't as on it as he always is. But I think he definitely is someone who can go up there against Max. Like we've seen it this season, he doesn't seem to be afraid of just having to go at it. And then sass, I've put him as a 6. I think he's quite a deadpan person. Like he kind of is quite blunt in what he says, and I feel like his face tells his emotions more than what he says. But I don't find him to be overly sassy. So I think it depends on the day for him whether he wants to talk or not. So
I agree with a lot of those. So charisma, I've got him as an 8. I think he's picking up chicks at the bar. Don't you worry.
That bar. I want to go to this bar. Where is he?
Yeah, where is this bar?
But they need to be older than those guys because they're too young for me.
Well, I'm 26, so
I need my Lewis. I need my Daniel Ricciardo. That's
That's
the
the
bar
bar next door. Don't worry about it.
Is there seats? Because we need to sit down. We're old.
There's defo seats. There's also a stair lift. Don't worry about it.
Period.
So charisma 8, I think he doesn't show too much of his personality, but I kind of also like that too, because I think that means that driving isn't his whole world, and your job should never be your whole world, even if it is the coolest job in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So uniqueness, I've put at 6. I do think he has an opportunity to brand on himself, and he hasn't done that yet. And I think if he did, then more of his personality would come out, because a lot of his branded stuff would be based on what he likes. And then I think his fandom would have a little bit more from him too. Mm-hmm. So only a 6 on his uniqueness. Nerve 7. It's been knocked down a couple points from the race that happened on Sunday, because I don't know what happened there, but that dictated the rest of the race. So it's so important to get ahead in that first corner, as we all know, because that could be the be all and end all. And then lastly, Sass 4. We don't hear that many sassy radio messages from him. I don't think, again, I think he's pretty straight up, blunt, and I don't think that's a level of sass. I think a level of sass is like passive aggressiveness, and I just don't think he's got that much in him.
No, but maybe this, if we do this segment again, maybe we won't just do the top 3, because as we said, there's other people that we think are higher up on the sassy scale, especially, and it would be quite fun to maybe we just rotate through the drivers.
Well, also we could run a segment depending on what you guys like, where
all 3 of you.
I ask you, Jazz, who do you think is ... and then you tell me who you think is the sassiest, best the dress, or best the dress, that's not a word,
undress,
dress the best.
No.
We do not
Snog, marry, avoid.
I mean,
no, we do not. We're trying to keep it very reined in, because we are professional podcasts. We're not.
I'm very professional most of the time.
And there's us comparing them to sandwiches and Easter eggs.
I want to know what Easter egg Danny Ricciardo is, but he's not in the race, so we will never know.
All right, don't break my heart, Jesus.
Anyway, I think that's probably it for this week, guys. So thank you so much for tuning in, as always. Again, sorry it's late, but we're busy people. We still appreciate you all tuning in and listening. And don't forget to follow us on our socials, which is YouTube Shorts, Threads, TikTok, and Instagram.
She remembered, everyone! She remembered YouTube. Woohoo! As always.
Bye.
Bye.